Yesterday, we talked about the Sony State of Play, and in particular, God of War Laufey, which has been getting a lot of backlash. So if you're out of the loop on that, consider watching yesterday's video. We went over a lot of details, including various clips from people as well, such as David Jaff, the God of War creator, Mr. Matty Plays, and Alana Pierce. But in this video, we're going to be talking about this tweet from Domino's Pizza, and the reason we're going to be talking about this tweet is because of the reaction that it got specifically. The reaction from the AAA corporate shills and the corporate journalists that are very mad at this. They're like actually offended. And so as you can see, we have Disgusting Film who said, first look at gameplay for God of War Laufey coming soon to PS5. And Domino's Pizza UK sees that. They respond and say, God of War game with no Kratos equals pepperoni passion with no pepperoni. And so I saw this yesterday and I didn't even laugh at the joke, not because I didn't find the joke funny, but because I was like, brand taking a dunk on another brand on social media. It comes off disingenuous. It doesn't come off like a real genuine joke. It comes off as marketing, which obviously it is. It's a corporation on social media, like I just said, clearly getting some publicity from this, getting some marketing out of it. So originally I had no intention of covering this, but then I saw the reaction from the corporate press, the AAA industry, their shills, and how they're actually offended and running damage control over this tweet. And now it's actually hilarious. Now I'm definitely making a video on it, so here we are. Before we get to the shills' anger and the journalists' tears, we do have one more bit of context to take a look at, though, because Sony Santa Monica did respond to Domino's Pizza, where the Sony Santa Monica corporate account said, okay, thanks for the feedback, Domino's Pizza corporate account. This got them a variety of responses, such as, cooked by a pizza company is a heck of a way to go. Oh, the irony, the absolute irony. Thank you, minimum wage corporate account entertainment company employee, for pointing out corporate accounts. Why don't you get back to work on your corpo-ordered hag replacement game with all my safe space aesthetics and quirky Chungus sidekick? Oh yeah, the Jello. We got the classic, hiding behind the mask, totally not upset. And you got mocked by a dang pizza delivery company. And now we can take a look at the shills and the journalists, starting with this one. Check this out. This guy responds to Domino's and their tweet. And they say, this is so crazy, bro. Look at this. Unbeknownst to the frickin' loser who tweeted this, they've likely cost their agency any future contract with a major video game publisher again. All because someone wanted to look cool to a small crowd that will never know or care about their name. Holy overreaction, dude. Are you serious right now? And by the way, if you look at this guy's bio, he used to work at EA apparently. So ex-AAA dude, now also just a corporate shill on Twitter.com. Great job. And again, what an insane overreaction. Dude is a massive drama queen. This is pathetic. Oh, Domino's, you're blacklisted from every major video game publisher again. The AAA industry will not stand for this. I love how out of touch this whiny grown man is too, thinking that this is actually an own. First of all, Domino's tweet is like the most on-serious thing ever. So if you're actually offended by that, that's a giant L in self-report for this guy and the industry. But for argument's sake, let's go with it for a second. So he's saying that no major video game publisher is going to work with Domino's again over this. Like, AAA industry is going to be very upset about this. And it's like, who cares? Even if that's true, who cares? The AAA industry has been on the downtrend for years. Their games are constantly flopping. The goodwill is understandably in the gutter for these corporations. So if you're saying that those people are mad, that's not actually a bad look for the people that they're mad at. It's quite the inverse. And the OP then tries to cope immensely by adding this follow-up take that says, since y'all love my takes and also need to learn a thing or two about marketing, go subscribe to my newsletter. Yeah, no one subscribed, bro. But you got responses like this. XEA makes sense. It's not your hormones. You're just crazy. Who honestly cares? Then the OP responds to someone else there. We got another comment below that reading, having a meltdown because of a joke is insane levels of deranged. As well as the sales numbers will speak for themselves, and I promise they won't be supporting your position, lol. Then we got GameSpot also joining in, being offended. Journalists over at GameSpot saying, God of War Laufey dev responds to pizza company's dumb tweet about new game. The framing clearly trying to present Santa Monica Sony's response as good thing, and Domino's Pizza's tweet as dumb tweet. How dare they? Look how insanely desperate they are to run damage control. Check out the very biased framing here. Again, peak desperation. They say, the post from Domino's Pizza UK said God of War game with no Kratos equals pepperoni passion with no pepperoni. The Domino's Pizza UK post was criticized for making fun of the game just because it doesn't feature Kratos, with many replies pointing out the reports of how poorly Domino's is known to treat its workers and how mediocre at best its pizza is. Dude, are you serious right now? The majority of the responses are not that. We can take a look. You can see for yourself. The majority of the responses are actually laughing at God of War. We'll just start scrolling. Go ahead and take a look. I'm not going to pause to read. You can see for yourself. We'll scroll for like another 10 seconds. It's all people laughing at what occurred. There's like no one here being like, oh yeah, how dare you, Domino's? Your pizza sucks and you don't treat your workers right. Like, dude, literally no one is saying that. Maybe there was a handful of people that said that somewhere that we can't even find. And so the journalists are disingenuously trying to take that, if it even exists, that very small amount of people, and trying to paint that as if that was the majority of the responses, when that clearly isn't the case. And so going back to GameSpot, this is the exact same playbook that corporate journalists have used to defend the AAA industry and their corruption for years, and how they smear gamers for years. When we criticize the AAA industry, the corporate journalists would write articles saying, oh, it's the far-right Nazis harassing the innocent corporations. How dare those chuds do it? You know, they would try to character assassinate the critics to defend the corporations. And we're seeing something very similar here, except this time it's not directed at individual gamers. It's directed at Domino's Pizza. It's especially crazy that they're still trying to do this sort of thing in 2026, considering that journalists are one of the least trusted professions in the world. People don't like journalists. They don't trust them. We all know how they operate. We all know how disingenuous they are. And a lot of them have been laid off. But despite that, they're still trying to write nonsense like this. They double down on their disingenuous framing right here in one of their last paragraphs. They say, the Domino's Pizza UK account is known for its spicy posts. And this was just the latest example, as the account purposely posting something hyperbolic and weird to garner attention. It worked. But now people are dunking on Domino's even more than before. They don't mention how, like, everyone is really dunking on God of War. Like, we couldn't find a single example of anyone dunking on Domino's. Like I said already, they might be out there, but they're clearly, if they even exist, very few and far between. But of course, that doesn't stop this corporate journalist from trying to manipulate the situation and rewrite reality. And then I saw this tweet from Vera Dark. She says media is big mad over Laufey criticism and complaints, showing a headline that reads, sexist losers are big mad that Kratos takes a backseat to Faye in God of War Laufey. Look at the bullet point. Incels accuse the game of being woke for featuring a female protagonist instead of Kratos. What a trashy creep. You see this all the time from people that defend AAA. They say stuff like this all the time. You guys are just incels. Dude, we're talking about business. We're talking about business and the business decisions that the company behind this game is making. And these people, they instantly just make it sexual. They start thinking about sex. That's a self-report. They're creepy. They're trashy, creepy people. As a matter of fact, someone like that's calling you an incel, they're probably the incel. It's a self-report into their own insecurity. And it's also a good example into how these people have no actual good points. They can't refute any of the stuff people are actually saying. They just have to resort to desperate slop like that. But it gets so much better. The outlet that wrote this article is actually some black entertainment outlet named Hip Hop Wired. Oh, Hip Hop Wired's got to get involved with this. Now they're writing about the incels. We have to defend Sony Santa Monica. Yeah, okay, dude. Good job, Bernard Beans Smalls. You really showed the gamers, dude. You really licked those corporate boots real well. We'll close with this. Tweet from Sevi says, they are so in PR mode. Their excuse was, hey, she was part of the original story. Trust us. Look, please. Responding to PlayStation 20 hours ago, where they said, Faye was part of the Norse saga from the beginning. Now in God of War Laufey, we become the warrior behind the legends and stories. However, like I said in my initial coverage yesterday, I've never played God of War. It's not my sort of thing. If you like it, that's totally cool. I've just never really been into like action adventure sort of games. This is to say I'm not familiar with the lore, so I don't know if they're really reaching here or not, but if you're more familiar with this series, take a look at the 1-minute clip and consider letting us know what you think.
These stories have revolved around Fae in a lot of ways, but they're told through the lens of other people and what Fae meant to them. And even though we got to spend time with Fae a bit in Ragnarok, we didn't get to know her.
Rise! Time is running out, my love, and there is much to do.
But what we do know is that she was the guardian of Midgard, that she was the guardian of the giants, that she had the Leviathan axe made for her.
We knew Faye was the last guardian of the Jotnar left in Midgard. That's why we made her the axe. We hoped it could restore the balance of power.
But we also know that she met Kratos at her lowest point, that she had Atreus with Kratos, that she taught Atreus everything she knew so that he would be prepared. But behind all of that, there was a woman who held a lot of secrets, and she didn't tell even her closest loved ones everything about her.
And that's the latest. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.